everyone, this is Everything Horror. We love to talk about everything horror, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about 2020, year in review. That's right, this is a year in review for the horror movies that came out this year. 2020 was an insane year on all levels, with everything in regards to the pandemic, to just some pretty insane real life stuff that happened, and with the movie industry, just a lot of things put on hold indefinitely. We don't really know what's going to happen next year or this year now. So it's pretty insane. But I didn't get to watch a lot of movies that I wanted to watch this year, especially because most of them got pushed back. But even some that came straight to VOD, some I wasn't able to see, just didn't have the time to go check it out, or whenever a film comes out in the theaters, I feel more obligated to watch it. If this is going to be the new normal, I gotta snap out of that. So I don't know, we'll see how that goes, but let's go ahead and get into this. We are going to start off with some of the bad, okay? So this is just not just bad movies, but movies that disappointed me this year. So let's go ahead and start off with that, get that out of the way, and then we'll get on to the good stuff. The first film that I saw this year that really turned me off was The Grudge. I was actually excited to see this film. The trailer was very misleading. It seemed like it was going to be an awesome slow burn, more graphic in detail. There was parts in the trailer where it looked like someone's head is being sawed off, and there's some insane stuff, and I was like, wow, this looks very interesting. And oh my gosh, this movie was a snore. This film was very hard to watch, and I didn't like it at all. It was ugh. The next film was The Turning. This movie was pretty bad. The ending was unacceptable. It was horrible. The worst ending I have seen in a film in a very long time. One of the biggest waste of times this year. Now, this movie wasn't bad, but it really let me down, and that was Gretel and Hansel. I was very excited to see this movie. I was a big fan of Oz Perkins' first film, The Black Coat's Daughter, and I was looking forward to see what he was going to do with this type of IP, the Hansel and Gretel and Hansel story. And boy, was it a letdown. Oh my gosh. Visually, the movie was stunning, but as far as the storytelling, it was very slow, and in my opinion got very out of hand with the artsy fartsiness of it all. Now, this movie was bad. Fantasy Island, holy crap. Talk about strange. This was a TV show that was adapted to be a horror movie, and it just didn't mix well. The twist in the movie was absolutely horrible. You could see it coming a mile away. I think I lost brain cells watching it. Brams, The Boy 2. Holy crap, man. This movie was just insane. It was hilarious, unintentionally. Now, the beginning of this film, I was actually in for it, but oh my gosh, as the film goes on, it's just more of the same, and it just ends up not making sense and ruining the first boy. Talk about unproductive. Another movie that disappointed me, that's not really that bad. Well, in my opinion, it is pretty bad. But The Dark and the Wicked, I just did not like this movie. A lot of people really liked this film, and I just couldn't get into it. It was just way too slow. I didn't care about any of the characters. This is a film where they stick to one location, and usually I like films like that, but oh my god, this one was just so boring and mundane, and it was just trying too hard to be this film that's dark and depressing, and I just saw right through it. I just didn't like it at all. And my absolute worst film for 2020, The Lie. This was a part of Amazon's Welcome to the Blumhouse anthology series that they were doing. Weren't able to be picked up for distribution. And one of the films was The Lie, and holy crap, man. This movie was so bad. I hated it. I hated every minute that I was watching it. All the characters were stupid. Please help me. All right, let's get into the good films for this year. Let's start off with some honorable mentions. First, I want to bring up Mortuary Collection. This was released by Shudder. I really enjoyed this. It got me in the vibe for the Halloween season. Haven't seen an anthology film in a while that really caught my attention. The last one was probably VHS, the VHS series. But this one really caught my attention. I really liked it. The stories in it were very fantastical and gory. I really liked that aspect. And overall, I really liked the Mortuary Collection, but it doesn't break into my top 10 for favorite of the year. I also really like The Rental. A lot of people didn't really like this movie. I don't know. I think this has been a thing for me this year. There's a lot of films that I ended up liking that others didn't like, and films that other people, a vast majority of people liked that I didn't really like. But The Rental, I thought this was a really strong debut from Dave Franco as a director. The story was very different from anything that I've seen in the past years from the horror genre. And I thought that was very nice to see a fresh perspective from a young director. I really liked it. The acting was really good. The last act was pretty great. I just thought it was a nice change of pace for the horror genre. Next, we have Relic. This was a deep, dark, and depressing film that really nailed it. It gave me vibes of Hereditary. The subject matter was terrifying, and there's parts of the film that were terrifying. There's some parts within the film that were kind of slow, but overall, I really liked Relic. Last but not least, for honorable mentions, we have Underwater. This was a nice way to start off the year. I think this came out like the 3rd or the 4th week of January. And I wasn't when I went into Underwater, I wasn't really expecting much, but I ended up coming out very happy. Kristen Stewart was excellent in the film. The film really gets your heart racing. I really enjoyed it, and then the Lovecraftian aspect of the film was very welcoming. So yeah, that's my honorable mentions, and let's go ahead and get to my list. Alright, for number 10, we have The Empty Man. This is another film where I really liked it, and a majority of critics and other film fans didn't really like it, but I don't know, I really liked the vibe of this film. It was another film where it was different. It brought something different to the genre that I really liked. The point of view of the film, and there's some very creepy aspects of the movie. The whispers, the empty man itself. There's some imagery that stuck with me, and that's all I can ask for in a film. There's some parts where it tries to be comical, but overall, I really dug the vibe of The Empty Man. Next, we have Come Play. Come Play I wasn't really expecting much from, and it gave me a whole lot. I like the acting, I like the aspect of this creature that is alone and wants to take their child because it wants a friend. But overall, I really enjoyed my experience with Come Play. Next, we have Host. This film, it came out at a time that it was desperately needed. Took advantage of the whole Zoom meeting fad that took over the nation and made a horror movie out of it. Now, we have seen this before, like films like Unfriended, but for this film, they took a much more realistic approach, and the scares were definitely a lot better. Host was a really good time. Next, we have Nocturne. This had came out as part of the Welcome to the Blumhouse anthology from Amazon. There was a really bad film that came out from that, but this was actually a really good film, Nocturne. I liked the story. I love the acting from Sydney Sweeney. There's a lot of cool twists and turns throughout the film. The only thing is at the ending I didn't really like, but everything else I thought was excellent. Color Out of Space. This was a film that I saw early this year. that I thought was beautiful, visually striking, the colors, and then there's the awesome body horror. We have Nicolas Cage. I mean, how much more could you ask for? Next was His House. This movie came out of nowhere, just showed up on my Netflix. I heard good things about it, so decided to check it out, and I'm definitely glad I did. His House was one of those films that just grips you from the very beginning. I definitely learned a lot from this film, but the awesome creepiness throughout, the scares, I really much enjoyed. At number 3, we have Possessor. This movie I had to rewatch, and as I rewatched it, I liked it more and more. The world that this film built was so dark and depressing, and something wrong with me, but I really enjoyed that aspect. There was some crazy body horror. The acting from Adrian Riseborough and Christopher Abbott was excellent. They both have amazing range as actors. And of course the vaping. We can't leave that out. Number 2, The Invisible Man. I know, right? A lot of people probably had this as their number 1, but this was like the last film that I saw before the whole pandemic. And it's the one that really stayed with me. I really enjoyed the performances. Leigh Whannell is showing that he is a force to be reckoned with. He is going to be a master of suspense. He has proven it with The Invisible Man, with Upgrade. I'm really enjoying what he's been putting out, and I can't wait to see what he has next. But The Invisible Man was jaw-droppingly good. Elizabeth Moss gives an awesome performance. I just absolutely love that film. Now for number 1, this is a movie that really, really, really stuck with me. And I rewatched it during the Christmas season because it takes place during Christmas. But this film just stuck with me, and that's The Lodge. The Lodge, I thought, was an excellent film. Riley Q is excellent in it. She goes down this spiral, losing her mind, and you follow her throughout the film. You care about the kids, but and then once you find out certain something, you're just like, what the heck? I just loved all the twists and turns, the dread, everything. This movie was definitely a model of what we would be going through this year, like the isolation. Just watching it after the pandemic, I just realized, like, wow, this is pretty much life now. The isolation. I can really appreciate it now after everything that's happened. But yeah, that is my list. The list and review for 2020. What did you guys think? What was your least favorite and what was your favorite films for 2020? Let me know in the comments. And thank you for sticking with my channel. I really appreciate it. I know I haven't been posting videos for a bit, but I just decided to take a break, and I'll be getting back to the good old grind for the new year. That's going to be my resolution. I'm going to be more consistent. So let's go ahead and start off the year right. My next video is going to be my most anticipated films for this year. So let's hope that we actually get to see these films. Oh my gosh. Please, I cannot go through another year of hardly any films. But let's see. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Hector, and this is Everything Horror, where we love to talk about everything horror. Take care, peeps.